Welcome back, Nick. On this Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classic, this is episode number 1218 and episode number 1112. Now, like with the last episode, two flash trades. Now, this is not a volume 4. Oh no, volume 4 is done. Yep, completely done. It took me 2 or 3 years, but I finally got it done. Now I'm discussing. Now I'm pretty much just right now just all about talking about the current volume for the series. Now, I am planning on reviewing when I get a chance to the trades for it. The trades that collect Volume 3, which is really short. If you're curious to how long Volume 3 is, it's only 12 issues. Yeah, and these already done by Jeff Johns before Francis Mafford by which led to the book, then of course Robin Venditti. Now we're on the Josh Williamson run. Now Josh Williamson mostly has been the writer of this book since 2016. I think he did just recently wrapped up his run in the book. I think it was like not long after the book hit 750. I will discuss it later on when I discuss I think it's like Flash Volume 13, I think it is. This is Flash Volume 10, Force Quest. Yes, this is quite interesting though. We have a Flash trade series that's more than 9 issues. We try thinking, when was the last time that happened? When Jeff Johns for the book? It's possible. But yeah, this is great though. And I love the title of this thing, Force Quest. The font itself is very similar to the ongoing series Force Quest. You know, what was a cross between, I think it was Johnny Quest. I think what was his name? The guy who was the Peacekeeper. I don't remember his name. Oh, Space Ghost. Yeah, Space Ghost. Yeah, it's very similar to that. The title for it, the way the font is, but it has nothing to do with it at all. Force Quest is him put Barry hunting, basically looking for people who's got similar powers to him he does. And this sets up a plot thread that will basically culminate with issue 750. Though there's a brief detour for Heroes in Christ I'll discuss in a minute. Now yes, Josh Williams is the writer, still. The artwork is done by 5 different artists. Yes, 5. In this trade collect issues 58 to 63. If you're curious though, are 64, 65 next trade? No, because that's part of a 2-parter with Batman known as The Price. Excuse me. That was mostly put a follow-up to a plot thread in the pages of Batman that Williamson did, but apparently Tom King just didn't bother to write anything to do with that crossover. The artwork in here is done by Rafael Salvador, Christian Deuce, Makur Jeng, Jordi Togoria, and Scott Hanna. Yeah, that's what the artwork in here. Oh, and also, Flash still wears... Yeah, this is quite interesting though. Well, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all got brand spanking new costumes when it comes to DC Rebirth. Flash kept his costume. Yes, this is the same costume that Jim Lee designed for him back in 2011. Yeah, I'm like, really? Like, you don't get Barry a new costume? No. I think the reason why, because unlike in the case of Superman and Wonder Woman, which, now Wonder Woman, her costume didn't get a lot of flack. Superman's costume got a lot of flack. Now, those two, I get why they changed their costumes. Barry, well, new continuity, changed his costume, okay. But it's shocking, though. This guy still wears the same costume. Like, look at this thing. It's still the same Jim Lee costume. Yep, still the same. Now, this storyline is the debut of a new character. Her name is Forzina. Yeah, it's this woman, basically, who's also got Speed Force power. Though her power is, I believe it's called the SOG power. SOG Force, I guess. Yeah. Mostly put, this storyline continues right after the events of The Perfect Storm and Flash War. 2 really good storylines, which, as far as I can tell, Williamson built up for quite some time. Yeah, and this whole storyline is simply put, basically Barry exploring, because the fact that Speed Force is sort of broken in a way into several different segments, Barry is exploring basically one of those segments here in South America. And he's here with Iris, his smoking hot girlfriend, who, in another continuity, was in fact his wife, the mother of his 2 of at least 3 kids. Yeah, he had 3 kids with her. 2 of them have to be the Tornado Twins. And they have a grandson named Bart Allen. I'll get more into him when I discuss next trip because he's going to be in there. I'll discuss that. So, they meet a couple of thieves, and then he meets, well, the speedster for South America. Yep. Of course, well, then he makes a quick pit stop at Gorilla City. Yep. And we learn that apparently that Salvador, yes, Salvador, he's the king of the of Gorilla City. Yeah, he's the rough ruler of him. The thing is, he's actually been killed twice, believe it or not. Yeah, apparently he got killed again at some point. Now, the thing is about this character, he actually died at the start of the Guerrilla Warfare storyline. Yeah, it was a series of annuals that was published back in 1999. No, I didn't read them when it first came out. I read them like in the last couple of years. It's an interesting storyline, but this storyline killed off this character. And currently his son is basically the ruler of Gorilla City. And these 2 thieves basically are just ransacking Gorilla City. And we cut back to... We also have a cutback to Central City where Commander Cole is dealing with more of the rogues. Yeah, and by the way, he has met the warden of Iron Heights. And when he met Commander Cole, it's like, okay, you actually do look a little... You actually are not the Captain Cole I know because you're a little older and you look a little different. Because even he is not written to be that stupid. Which, you gotta appreciate the fact Williamson writes his character, like all the characters of Flash, to be very intelligent, and the fact they're not written to be dumb as possible. They're not written to be that way. So, then of course Barry meets, well, Plazua. Yes, that's her. This is basically their meeting. And they do actually briefly fight over the course of the next couple issues because of difference in opinion. Yep. Then of course basically because she got some power that he does, he wants to trust her basically. He's out identity him. He's like, whoa, what'd you do that for? Yeah, he does. She does appreciate the gesture, but your name means nothing to me. You can go home. And then he basically mentions, please know your feeling. Remember how I felt when I first got my own speed powers. How little confused he was. You got those powers 3 weeks ago, right? Something grabbed you from underground. And then she's like, how did you know my... Yep, and of course they show the fact she was... Really, it looked like she was some... Like, a girl basically with some music. And that's part of the reason why her power's like that. So... Yeah, her power is called the Strength Force. Yep, so he wants to learn from her. Takes her to her basically her base. And she takes off her... Well, she doesn't exactly... She just only just bomb half her face. Now, her name is Alexa Anajan. And basically protect people close to her. And of course, meanwhile, Captain Cold is basically running into, of all people, the Trickster. Well, this is not Alex Wilder. Nope, it's not the second one. Nope, it's the original one. Like, apparently, like, in this place you see the original Trickster, his successor, and the female Copperhead. Yeah, for some reason she's here. Don't know why. And I like the fact that, well, Barry gets a chance to interact with her. Of course, they do disagree with his opinion. And she does disappear in the next storyline. She actually doesn't return until actually the storyline that leads into issue 750. Yep. Though, she does have kind of like, well, a cop basically who she hates. Though basically he does convince her not to kill. Though apparently her powers during the storyline like in this penicillin issue, basically start going haywire. Though he's able to basically get her to calm down. Though basically the policeman who killed her family, well, is put under custody of Argus, which you probably are reading this like, wait, Argus still exists in the DC universe? Well, here's the thing. Like, from the start of the current continuity from 2011 to about 2016, Argus generally played a big role in DC comic books. And then the last few years, it's like, okay, I guess they've been demoted. Yeah, at one point, they're originally by Steve Trevor, and then after the second story arc of Justice League, he got removed and replaced Amanda Waller. This lasted for about 2 years, and then she was removed, and Steve Trevor took back in charge again, and then nothing. Yeah, as far as I can tell, Steve Trevor is basically off doing his own thing in the Wonder Woman comic book. But as far as I can tell, when it comes to who's leading Argus now, no idea because they don't really say. It's great to see Argus. And then we have this really weird scene of basically where, like, Commander Cole's there with his girlfriend. It's like, oops. He's like, why do you live in Barry Allen's moment? And of course that he picks up a sunglasses like, cold, flash. You look at somebody on the satellite to me. I just sent you up Sage Force Day signature. I'll whip it from Carmesto. Carl Molesto. Right. I pick up a large scale place called Zenda. Mostly the really terrible place. Yep, and then we see cameos by a bunch of known DC villains. Like, I see Rainbow Raider. The Top. By the way, he's a guy. We all see Catman is here. Freaking Catman. Making at this point anyways, this is his first appearance since the end of the Secret Six comic book. There's also Giganta. Yeah, she's here. We also see Monmouth, Gizmo, Monsieur Mala. The Brain is not here, surprisingly. Looks like Golden Glider. Livewire. I think that's Magpie. I don't remember who this guy is with the bullets. The Trigger Twins. Let's see. Yeah, that's interesting though, the fact that actually these people are just living here, okay? So they go sort of undercover, and Barry's like, he's just like, Magpie? And she's like, you say my man Magpie? Damn girl, that was so fun. Yeah, Magpie. Those of you who don't know who this woman is, she's a creation of John Byrne, believe it or not. Yeah, her first appearance was in Man of Steel #3. And here's the thing about this character. Like, is she a villain for somebody? Yes. Yes, she is. Who? Batman. I'm not kidding about that. She is a Batman villain. And here's the thing. She actually, in the previous continuity, she died. Yep, she died. How? She got killed by one of the terrible three, one of the three minor villains in Batman's Rogues Gallery. Yeah, apparently, like these guys, like the guy who was basically the Great White Shark of the group, he apparently thought it was a good idea to kill a bunch of C-listers, and she was one of them. Yep. So, Barry basically, and then they run into the Rogues. Yep, they're here. Yeah, pretty much like all the Flash villains are here. Like, oh yeah, turn around the corner and all of a sudden, yep, Flash runs into his old bad guys. And they say, oh yeah, I'm a big fan. Yeah, this guy apparently is a big fan of his. Yeah, apparently, like his suit, basically, his weapon, he's wearing this suit, and everyone knows he's a Flash. Yeah, at one point they referred to it as the Flash girlfriend. Now, this I thought was a really cool scene. Like, we see, like, brief images. We see look like Gorilla Grodd, Heatwave in his pre-Flashpoint look when he had Flamethrower. Some woman in mask. I don't remember who he is. Barry Allen, of course. Eobard Thawne and the Trickster. This is possibly teasing future storylines. Yep, and of course, well, Commander Cole basically still running things at home. And more Flash. And of course, Flash is exposed. Then he also runs into Roulette and the Royal Flush Gang. Wow. Roulette and the Royal Flush Gang. The Royal Flush Gang, I mean, if you watch the Justice League animated series, you know who these 5 people are. Yeah, they're Justice League villains. The thing about Roulette, here's the thing. She made her live action debut in an episode of Smallville. And she's also in Justice League. But here's the thing. Guess what was her first appearance, believe it or not? JSA Secret Files #2. Yes, that seriously was her first appearance. In a one-shot for the JSA. And she's mostly known for fighting the Justice League. Somehow. There's also a weird fanfic involving her. I'm not going to discuss it. Yep. Yeah, so basically Flash and Iris beat a bunch of villains, which is pure fun. He takes down Psyche. He has got a helmet, and we see the other villains here. And they try to steal Barry's powers and, of course, Psyche's powers. Yeah, then of course leads into Flash 60, which is the conclusion of the storyline. Iris beats up these other people, and then of course they get beaten, but they pretty much get defeated in a weird way. Like apparently one of them is dying, so they apparently have the woman merge with the guy, and she gets driven insane. And then we see apparently that the Gorilla City is basically gone. So apparently all the gorillas who died basically all burned. And then Barry takes us back home because of what happened to Heroes for Crisis. Yep, Heroes for Crisis has finally gotten here. Yep. Wow. The Flash Quest storyline was really good. I give the book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Damn good book. Next up, it is Flash Volume 11, The Greatest Trick of All. This is, of course, still written by Josh Williamson, artwork by Scott Knowles. And that's it. Yeah, he's the only artist on here. This book collects issues 66-69 and The Flash A #2. Yeah, like I said before, like when it comes to the 2 issues that were skipped over, yeah, 64-65, where are they? They're in Heroes for Crisis, The Price of Their Stories. Yeah, that's where it is. This whole storyline is simply put this. This is quite interesting. We had the return of Godstorm. Yeah, he makes his return to the book. Along with Bart Allen, who's in his Impulse costume. Who's here. He checks out his old place. And then we cross-cut to the events of Heroes for Crisis in the first part of the storyline. Called Too Many Speedsters. Yep. Yeah, and of course, this one that was really cool. So, Bart goes to Max Mercury's house, where apparently it's in ruin. And then he goes to what looks like to be the Secret Sanctuary. This at a point. Now, prior to this, this particular mountain was the headquarters of the JLA, the group led by Batman, along with Black Canary, Lobo, Killer Frost. And then he goes to San Francisco to go to Titan's Tower, where he calls out for Connor, Tim, and Cassie, aka the founding members of the Jeff Johns Teen Titans. Then he goes look for Jay, Jesse. Like, what the sprock? Yep. Where are they? Where's Jesse Quick and Jay Garrick? They're in the Speed Force, and they show up later on. Don't worry, we'll discuss later on. Yep, and then we cut to Iron Heights, where we have the Chinese Flash and Kid Flash visiting Mina, who is the negative Flash. Yep, she's in Iron Heights because of the stuff she did in the storyline that she last showed up in. Yep, and then Barry basically, when he runs to August again, he wonders like what the heck he was doing. So he starts tries to steal Mina's negative force powers, and of course the Chinese Flash and Kid Flash start fighting him. They fight for a brief period of time. And they fight for a while. And of course, Barry beats him. Of course, he smashes his mask. And he runs. And then he gets kicked by Bart Allen right in the face. He's like, who are you? Yeah, he's ever right to say it because Bart has never met Godspeed before. Yeah, Godspeed's an old friend of Barry's, which he didn't know anything about that at all. He fights him for like a few pages. And then we come back to Star Labs where Mina's there just to visit, and then she gets hired back to Iron Heights. Yep. Yeah, me and Barry dated briefly at the start of this run, though they later broke up due to her parent death. And then when they came back, they tried to, but she's working for the organization Black Hole, which the organization doesn't exist anymore in this comic book. And so Kid Flash confronts Barry about what happened with Wally. And then, of course, Barry tells Iris what happened with Wally. And, of course, well, Bart goes to the future, where he sees the Flash Museum. And then we see the second epilogue, which has got me up with this person, which, by the way, is actually not explored until the storyline that starts 750. Yeah, and then we have this next, the greatest trick of all, which has Barry basically fight once again James Jesse, the original trickster. Yep, that's the main villain of the storyline, the original trickster. Yeah, yes. Who would have thunk, though, the fact that, now here's the thing, apparently, like, unless, of course, you know who James Jesse is. I mean, if you watch, like, the Flash TV show, you know who James Jesse is. He's played by Mark Hamill. He appeared, like, in 2 episodes. He appeared, like, once in Season 1. He appeared once Season 2. And then he didn't appear again for some reason. I'm not really sure why. It's kind of weird. I mean, Mark Hamill did a great job playing the character. He only played the character, like overall 4 times. He played in 2 episodes of The Flash, 590s, and 2 episodes of the current show. And that's it. Yep. And the thing about this trickster is, he's never joined the Rogues. Nope, never has. And plus, I gotta love the fact that they actually have a nod to his Silver Age, what he did in the Silver Age, when he did this whole thing, and when he walked on air. Yeah, it was some device he basically invented. And it's great that they have many, like, let's say, references to his stuff he's done over the years. Though, they don't bring up the fact if Alex Wilder, a.k.a. the second trickster, if he is in fact his son. He really isn't. Yeah, the whole thing about the 2 tricks being father and son, that was made for the Flash TV show. In the comic book, they're not related. Nope. Basically, at the time, what I read in the comic books, is that apparently when the second trickster showed up, the original trickster had been long retired from crime. He had become an agent for the FBI of all things. And when he found out there was a second trickster, he didn't have a problem with it. He had no problem with it. He just, like, whatever. He did his own thing. Yep. So basically the whole thing in this storyline is that the trickster really went against hands on one of the powers. And then we see apparently stuff that look like it happened during the events of Blackest Night of all things. Where basically it looked like the Black Lantern Corps. Yeah, Barry fights the Black Lantern Corps. There's, well, in Opal City of all things. Yes, in Opal City. Which, in this continuity, is only home of the Shade. Like, basically, from what I can tell, Williamson, from what I can tell in story, kind of confirmed that the whole thing with the Shade in the James Robinson series is canon to this continuity. Unknown if, in fact, that the series itself is canon, though you could kind of say it is because the Shade comic book, the 12-issue maxi, which I own it, is written by James Robertson, which is really good, by the way. So after spend time fighting, well, the Black Lantern Corps, then of course, well, so apparently Christy is dating the Trickster. Yep, Kristen's dating the Trickster. I feel like we went before. Got the guy in the face. Yep, so Barry remembers, oh yeah, he's the original Trickster. Yeah, and then something odd happens, like, yeah, apparently the city basically is apparently well off. He was gone for a while. So he comes back to his apartment a mess, and apparently there's been no arrest in the city. So and then we see, looks like it's when there was the Black Lantern Corps. I think it's Black Lantern Corps. Then of course, well, he goes to see, well, Allison. He's Captain Commander Cold's girlfriend. Well, apparently she's been crying. Can't you let us be happy? Burns, what's wrong with you, please? You must be happy. Yep, so the Trickster apparently kidnaps Commander Cold. And then, of course, you have apparently where the Trickster simply put hypnotizes the whole entire police force for some reason. And we have this wonderful cover of the original Trickster holding Barry by the neck over a building, which he never did it before that I could think of. Nope. He never did. Oh, and by the way, the original Trickster basically is a psychic, and the second Trickster, who is also the current one, he is pretty much a psychic, while the original Trickster basically is the main villain in the storyline. Yep, and then Barry puts on a suit, fights Tricksters. My guess is what gave Josh Williamson the idea of this, basically, of the two Tricksters working side by side together. He probably got this from the Flash TV show. Because the original continuity, these two never really worked together. Not really, no. From the stuff I read. So, like, almost like grand scheming, like, and then at one point, Trickster cuts up Barry's legs. Like, think he'd be happy. Nope, not really. And the Rogues go pretty much crazy on the Rogues, along with the Trigger Twins, and Copperhead go frickin' nuts in Central City, all because the Flash lost his legs. They make it happy. Nope, not really. Yeah, then Barry, apparently it's all just an illusion. He didn't copper really his legs at all. So, he's able to save an elderly couple from falling. Then he fights the Trickster and he puts on this harness so they will take his powers, along with some visor. And they pretty much just freeze away from the hypnotism that everybody was under. And then the course looks like, though, that the Trickster blew up Iron Heights. Yep, blew up Iron Heights. Yep, and Warden Wolf has basically been arrested. Yep, he's been arrested. And then we see his mysterious person come and see him Barry's office. He's like, this window is what happened, right? It's related change forever. This area is off limits. The off limits area of the CPD. I heard it be. And he's like, you must remember. The energy is a steel force. I then like Grodd and the Turtles had steel force. Yep, and this one is Mage. And then this leads into Flash Year 1. Yeah. Overall, really damn good storyline. And I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. And I can't wait to discuss Flash Year 1, which I'll be discussing next Comic Con, which I'm not going to discuss it right today because, well, I have read the following trade. I'll probably review that probably tomorrow. So yeah, that's a particular review. Now I'm going to go straight to doing Is It Wrong to Girls Dungeon? Then I'll basically put these three videos up and then I'll do case close hopefully, okay? To the next video. Bye.